Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations on HBO Max. And let's get to the list!
It can soon become a pleasurable experience. This is perfectly natural.
Barbarian is a 2022 horror movie, written and directed by Zach Cregger and stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long. The plot's about a woman who finds out that the Airbnb she reserved has been double booked with a man, while also not knowing of the dark secrets hidden within.
Yeah?
This is 476 Barbary, right?
Yeah, I'm renting this place.
No, I booked it a month ago.
Are you sure you have the right place?
Yeah. Who am I supposed to do?
Why don't you come inside and we'll call these idiots.
So I just really love how much this movie has blown up and how I just hear horror fans just uniting over their love for this movie. I saw it at an early screener, so I loved it right away. I did a review, but I did not expect it to be the kind of hit that it has become because it's really unique. It's very twisted, very strange. The way it's delivered is unique. Just the overall pacing and style. It's comedic, but not overtly funny. It's scary, but done in a very unique type of way. So I'm guessing that most of you out there have already seen this, but I wanted to let you guys know that it is now streaming on HBO Max. So if you're one of those people that have yet to check it out, now's the time to get on it and check it out.
This is our family story.
Lovecraft Country is a 2020 horror drama series developed by Misha Green and based on and serving as a continuation of the 2016 novel of the same name. It stars Janice Smollett, Jonathan Majors, and Michael Kenneth Williams. The story is about a young black man who travels across the segregated United States of the 1950s in search of his missing father and learning of the dark secrets of the town supposedly that author H.P. Lovecraft based many of his stories on.
What's that book you've been reading about?
It's about heroes who get to go on adventures, defeat the monsters, and save the day.
So I talked at length about this series back in 2020 when it was released. My channel was super small at the time, so not a lot of people even saw that. Either way, it's sad because this was supposed to have a second season, but it's never happened. And just for lots of reasons, this series just did not take off. I think a lot of it had to do with at the time of its release in 2020, race relations and everything to do with that was just such a hot button issue, and it was not something that I think a lot of people were wanting to deal with because it was just going on in the streets. It was such a big deal for all of us, and it was a real news thing, and so to have a fictional series delving into that just wasn't a great time for it. But it's an absolute shame because this is a masterfully done series. And yes, it does deal with the black struggle of the past. And it should, because that's a big part of our American history. And this is taking place in a time when this was really going on. But it also is a fantastic Indiana Jones adventure meets crazy, witchy horror and fantasy. It's so much fun. If you have never heard of or seen this series, you really need to do yourself a favor and check it out. It's like 8 episodes, so it's not that hard of a binge, but it is so worth it. Jonathan Majors is now blowing up. He's, doing all this stuff with Marvel. He's in the next Creed movie. He's got so much going on. But when this was released a few years ago, he wasn't quite the buzz that he is now either. But besides him, it just has a fantastic cast in general. This is a fantastic series that I highly, highly recommend.
You better watch yourself.
Red Riding Hood is a 2011 romantic horror movie. Directed by Catherine Hardwicke and produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, it stars Amanda Seyfried, Gary Oldman, and Billy Burke. The film is loosely based on the folktale Little Red Riding Hood, set in a medieval village that is haunted by a werewolf, where a young girl falls for an orphaned woodcutter much to her family's displeasure.
It killed again.
The wolf. Werewolf returns to its human form.
It's so surprising to me that I don't hear more people talk about this movie. I had seen its name around, but I couldn't remember if I had seen it or not. But when I checked it out, I realized, no, I have not seen this. And it's actually a really well put together movie. Is it perfect? No, but it's very entertaining. It's beautifully shot and directed with just the most beautiful atmospheric vibe. Everything is done with a beautiful color palette and just a fairy tale type of whimsy. I'm a huge fan of werewolf movies, and especially ones that are done worth a damn. And this one's actually really fun. I was very entertained by it, but it's not anything game changing, not anything to go pick apart, just an entertaining watch and one definitely worth adding to your list. Especially by the end. This is a damn good movie and one you should definitely check out.
I swear, someday soon, I am just gonna disappear. And you won't have any idea what happened to me.
We're All Going to the World's Fair is a 2021 coming-of-age horror movie. Written, directed, and edited by Jane Schobrun, it stars Anna Cobb and Michael Rogers. Reality and fantasy begin to blur lines when an isolated teenager immerses herself in an online role-playing horror game.
Hey guys, Casey here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna be taking the World's Fair Challenge.
This is a dramatic, slow burn indie movie that really gets under your skin. It's a very small project, so you have to really stay with it and not expect too much from it. But it burrows under your skin. It's very uncomfortable, very disturbing. This isn't gonna take you in any wild, crazy directions. It's not that kind of movie. It's very much a slowly building dread kind of thing. This isn't a movie that's gonna have this crazy ending with big mysteries and twists and turns and all any of that. It's not. Instead, it's a think piece. It's about the human psychology, about this poor girl and what she is doing to herself. Or is there something else here going on? But I ask that question of you, and it's really up for you to interpret this for what it is. But I do think it's a really well put together movie, really well acted and directed. But if you're in the right headspace for a slow burn, dramatic indie movie, then definitely give this a look.
Safe from what?
The Night House is a 2020 psychological horror movie. Directed by David Bruckner, the film stars Rebecca Hall. The story is about a widow who discovers a dark secret about the house that her recently deceased husband built.
My husband took the boat out on the lake. He took a handgun that I didn't even know that we owned, and...
So this was my #1 pick for last year. I absolutely love this movie. It's a moving, powerful, disturbing movie with a wonderful performance by Rebecca Hall. She is quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite actors, period. But her performance in this is so moving, so disturbing, so uncomfortable. But the way this movie is put together is so haunting. Not everyone enjoyed this. It's not gonna be for everyone, because it is a bit of a slow burn. But I think it's a wonderfully told story, and it's brilliantly directed by David Bruckner, who recently did the new Hellraiser movie. And I'm a big fan of his. Just the way he makes things look, the dark, foreboding way that he shoots everything. This is a stylish, moody movie that I highly, highly recommend.
Now, David Cronenberg makes reality the ultimate fantasy. Dead Ringers.
Separation can be a terrible
terrifying thing.
Dead Ringers is a 1988 psychological thriller, written and directed by David Cronenberg. It stars Jeremy Irons and Genevieve Bujold. The story's about twin gynecologists who take full advantage of the fact that no one can tell them apart, until their relationship begins to deteriorate over a woman.
By every scientific measure, they are absolutely the same. They share everything.
You haven't had any experience until I've had it too.
So I've been on this kick the last few months to try to track down and watch as many Cronenberg movies as I can. And this is one of the few left on my list. So off the jump, this is not one of my favorites of his. I don't think it's the most unique or compelling of all of his movies. However, it's still Cronenberg, so it's still very fascinating and kept my attention the entire time. So if you're a fan of Cronenberg like I am, this is still a great time. But I'm just not gonna sit here and tell you guys that this is an amazing, mind-blowing Cronenberg movie or anything like that. But it does have some cool body horror at times. It does have some unique twists and turns along the way. It is a unique and fun story as well. So just go into it with the right expectations, not to have your mind blown, but just to be entertained, and I think you'll definitely enjoy it.
And I don't want to be here anymore.
Don't Worry Darling is a 2022 psychological thriller, directed by Olivia Wilde from a screenplay by Katie Silverman. The film stars Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, and Olivia Wilde. The story follows an idyllic housewife living in a company town, who begins to suspect that a sinister secret is being kept from the residents by the man who runs it.
Welcome to the Victory Project. We're all here because we believe in the mission.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
What are we doing?
Changing the world.
That's right.
I heard so much garbage about this movie before I saw it, and I was expecting this to be just a pile of crap. And I was really shocked at how much I enjoyed this movie. It's beautifully shot with so much attention to detail. The props and set design, everything really looks like something from the 1950s. And the cast is so good in this. Florence Pugh is amazing in this, but she's quickly becoming one of my very favorite actors because everything I see her in, she just kills it. But besides her, I thought Chris Pine was great, and honestly, as much shit as Olivia Wilde's getting, I thought she did great in this as well. But beyond that, she directed the hell out of this movie. It's a really well-written, entertaining thrill ride kind of movie. It's not really a horror movie, it's much more of a thriller. But it does have some horror moments and twists and turns that'll definitely surprise you. This is a fantastic, entertaining little gem that you absolutely should add to your list. Years, but I never really heard anything good about it. So as much as I really do enjoy the 2006 movie Silent Hill, I just figured, this is just another straight to DVD piece of garbage. Is it a good movie? Not really. The acting isn't great, which is strange because it has a really solid cast. But just the way the dialogue's written is, and just the overall story isn't the greatest either. So you're sitting here going, okay, well then why is he talking about this movie? Why is he recommending it? Why is he saying it's good? It's because the way this movie looks, the ideas, the special effects, because even though some of the special effects are a little dated and look a little wonky, just the creativity because the story is thin, but it's enough for what you need it to be because this movie is about the visuals. It's about Pyramid Head. It's about the nurses. The way all of it looks, one scene to another, it's gory. The world that Silent Hill exists in. And I just wish so much that we would get someone with a real budget and a real cast of talented creators to come along and give us a Silent Hill movie we deserve. Buster budget, just a decent level. What we just recently saw from the Hellraiser franchise. We need that for Silent Hill. What we really need is the Corridor crew guys to get behind it and do their special effects magic on it and do some amazing wild CGI and just crazy special effects and get someone out there to pay them to do a movie. That would be a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of the Silent Hill franchise and have yet to check this out, do yourself a favor and give it a look.
Director Wes Craven. Red Eye.
Red Eye is a 2005 psychological thriller, directed by Wes Craven and written by Carl Ellsworth. It stars Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. The film follows a hotel manager, ensnared in an assassination attempt by a terrorist, while aboard a red-eye flight to Miami.
Hi, that's actually my seat.
You're kidding. You're not kidding. The name's Jackson.
Lisa. So what do you do?
As fate would have it, my business is all about you.
This is one of those movies that you just never hear talked about when people talk about Wes Craven. And I get it, because it doesn't exactly fit what you think of when you think of Wes Craven, but this is honestly one of his best movies. It is such a fast-paced thrill ride. Every second of this movie has you on the edge of your seat. And the performances by both Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy are just outstanding. They both just absolutely kill it in this. And the whole scenario of this pressure cooker of them being stuck on this flight together, the way all that plays out, the dialogue, the whole way it's set up, it's done really fun as well. This is a fantastic, heart-pounding thrill ride that is absolutely underrated, and one I definitely think you could have so much fun with. So do yourself a favor, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons, because you guys, your support just makes me feel so good right here. And if you would like to find out more about how to become a part of the Ghost Pirate Army, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Click right here for 10 more recommendations.